Hey everyone, welcome to the Eat to Win show where sports nutrition meets peak performance. Get ready for expert insights, real stories, and tips to help you win with every meal. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Eat to Win podcast show. I'm your host, Ronnie Harper, and we're here to talk about all things related to sports nutrition and how we help athletes win. Today, we're excited to welcome Janice Wen, a registered dietitian who resides in New York. She works specifically with college athletes, and she helps them fuel for peak performance. Janice, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for
Excellent.
having me.
I'm anxious to dive into your background and who you're working with now. And so we're going to get started. So we're really going to focus a little bit at the beginning about college athletes. And so, what inspired you to really start focusing on working with college athletes in a virtual capacity?
Well, I've always been inspired by the energy and potential of young athletes. I had the privilege of working with younger athletes and saw firsthand how impactful nutrition can be, not just in their performance, but their confidence and overall health. And as I began working with college athletes, I became drawn to the unique challenges and opportunities that this phase presents. College athletes are totally in a league of their own. I feel like they're incredibly motivated. They're striving for that competitive edge and navigating the demands of, really intense training. They have academics, and all of a sudden they have this newfound independence. So it's such a pivotal time where I feel the right nutrition can really help them and elevate their performance, enhance their recovery, and really build habits for lifelong health. So I really love being able to meet these athletes where they are and empower them with, to fuel their goals in a way that builds their strength and performance.
So let's talk a little bit about the college athlete today and their schedules. Walk us through a typical athlete in college, what their day is like, and really how busy it is and how that leads to the struggle to stay fueled.
Yeah, absolutely. College athletes are so often running and always on the go, whether it's like, the school for classes, study sessions, then they have to travel on the weekends for games. So it's really, really busy for them. They get up in the morning, then they have classes or they run to the training and then they have, another class and then training again. And a lot of times, then there's like study halls or, sessions that they have to go meet. So it's finding all of these in between moments where they can fuel, because what ends up happening is that they don't have the time to fuel. Their mind is always somewhere else. And so they become underfueled simply because they just don't have the time. Or, if they do have the time, it's like they don't have the access to the balanced meals because they'll have to run to the dining hall, which is not really convenient in terms of location. Something like that. So all of this really impacts their performance and well-being. So, my approach really is to try to find practical, doable strategies that they can work within their tight schedules. So teaching them to grab what are some quick nutrient-packed snacks or food. So finding all these ideas for them that work for them, whether it's an energy bite or Greek yogurt with fruit, something that they can grab and go and have on them. And I also go through a lot of dining hall options and find choices that work with them. And so hopefully, with a little planning and the right tools, we really turn all these challenges into hopefully a game plan that they feel good about.
I know with the advancement of strength training, they have their strength coach pulling on them. When are we going to work out? And quite often that's at 6 a.m. before school starts. And then they have to get their body acclimatized to eating, and then they run to class, and then they get back from class, and they didn't go to bed until late at night. So do they get a power nap in or not? And then they have practice, and then practice is over. Then they have to study, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Now I'm supposed to be consuming how many calories? And when you break it down, it's quite significant, especially some of the amount of calories these athletes are burning. So they struggle with underfueling. So what signs start to show up to tell a practitioner like yourself that athletes are starting to be significantly underfueled?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times underfueling, I feel like for athletes, they don't even realize it themselves. So underfueling is almost like a silent drain, right? It leads to fatigue, mood swings, more injuries, and a lack of focus. So I really make sure athletes understand these kind of red flags and to emphasize the importance that, you need consistent fueling when you're feeling all these, even on rest days. And so we work on a strategy that keeps their energy, balanced and steady throughout the day with focusing on small, frequent meals that fit easily into their schedule. So my goal really is to help them to feel confident about meeting their body's needs, so they can do their best in, athletics and academic.
Yeah. No, for me, you don't have to tell me to eat. Like when we finish this, I'm going to eat. And so I don't miss a meal. I enjoy it. But when you look at a college athlete who's running so fast through the day, they literally will go huge chunks of time. And if they're not very conscious about it, they will skip meals, skip planning. And like you said, it's a slow drain that shows up over time. So it's really hard
Yeah.
sometimes to put your finger on that. So, hey,
Right.
we've
It's a lot
still,
about being mindful,
yeah,
like
it is.
really, really tuning into your body. And that sometimes is really hard. But I really focus on being mindful.
Yeah. Well, I think we're turning the curve with sports dietitians in the collegiate setting into where they're now as a profession that is designed to work with athletes to help them be mindful, to help them educate. Until that time, it was a struggle for other practitioners like athletic trainers, strength coaches, administrators to work with athletes on this. They had their own job to do. So I'm really, really excited to see the profession of sports dietitian continue to evolve and help athletes to stay mindful of how they fuel themselves. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Hey, we've had a great first session. We're going to be back in just a moment after this short break, and we thank our sponsors. You're listening to the Eat to Win podcast show with your host, Ronnie Harper. Liquid Fuel is a new sports and hydration product formulated by a sports dietitian to give athletes the edge to train and compete longer. It contains a low glycemic carbohydrate, platinose, designed to keep blood sugar levels more stable to provide energy for 3 to 4 hours without the blood sugar crash seen in other leading sports nutrition drinks. Its unique 4-part electrolyte formula includes 50% of your daily magnesium need to optimize muscle function. Liquid Fuel is naturally sweetened along with no artificial ingredients or colors. Currently being used by high school, collegiate, and professional teams, Liquid Fuel allows you to live the life with confidence knowing you're properly fueling your body. Visit drinkliquidfuel.com and use the code MSD10 in order to get 10% off of your order. Welcome back to the Eat to Win podcast show. We're here talking with Janice Wen, and we've had a great conversation so far about optimizing nutrition for college athletes. Janice, let's dive back in. Janice, let's go to game day nutrition. Let's talk about we worked all this hard. Now a game is here, and now we're going to get serious about nutrition, right? We're going to focus on our pregame meal, and we're going to try to drink something that is
right.
So all of a sudden we start getting focused. Does it work like that? Does game day nutrition really make that big of a difference in a college athlete?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything leading up to it matters. And then on the game day, I think it's all about fueling with a plan and a purpose. So, game day is definitely the fueling helps with game day. So, I mean, I usually suggest like easily digestible carbs first, steady energy, moderate protein, and low in fat options to avoid digestive discomfort. And, a balanced pregame meal, really, a few hours beforehand. And then as you get closer to the game, you would have like a small carb-based snack just to top off your energy. And that really does help. Like, it's amazing how much that does help in terms of like energy levels and feeling ready. Like you said, staying hydrated is also essential. And if the game is lengthy and, we may have to add in like a quick snack at halftime in between games. So And then focusing on post-recovery. Recovery nutrition is crucial. We'll aim for a good balance of protein and carbs to recharge the bodies after. So the game day is a really important important time.
So let's focus a little bit more now on soccer athletes. And I know you really have a niche and interest in soccer athletes, and let's talk about soccer in general, but college soccer would be a good place to focus. Those same things you just mentioned apply to them, or do we need to do something special for them?
No, I mean, soccer, I do. My two boys are in soccer. I'm really invested in soccer. I love watching soccer. Yeah, soccer is a really, a game that requires a lot, right? And energy and fueling is important. And it's the same thing, on game day to really be being prepared, having that pregame meal, having the energy, right, the little top off energy, really hydrating and remembering at halftime to have something quick. Because if you're gonna, a lot of the mistakes or things that determine the game really happens in the second half. So you don't want to drain out. And so the halftime is definitely an opportunity that I think soccer athletes can really consider that time to actually put something in their body so that they can continue on into the second half and finish the game strong. And then, with post game, I always feel like, your entire competition or even your practice is not complete until you actually refuel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really important for soccer athletes because after a long game, you're going to need to refuel after so that you're ready for your next round, whether that's, the game after if you're in a tournament or, your practice the next day. Yeah. So yeah, all of this applies to soccer athletes.
That's a lot to focus on, and somebody who is dependent on the adults around them to help supply that. So let's say I'm playing a soccer game and the soccer game is at 3 p.m. that afternoon. When should I be eating my pregame meal?
So I usually say 3 to 4 hours before you would have a balanced meal. So if it's 3 p.m. that your game is, we're going to dial it back 3 hours. So that would be 12 o'clock.
Gotcha.
So you would have something at 12 o'clock, a balanced meal.
So, okay, we had a balanced meal. Now it's 3 hours. I'm starving and we're about to play a game. Is there any benefit to fueling up now about 30 minutes before a soccer game? Should I put anything on my stomach at that time?
Absolutely. Because, 3 hours is that main balanced meal and you're giving your body time to digest that and to use that energy for steady energy. But as the game gets closer, that 30 minutes before, just putting in easily digestible carbohydrates is great because, it tops off your energy. Your body's going to be using that immediately. So easily digestible carbs, like think applesauce, right? Or, crackers, something that goes down and digests easily, and your body's going to use that right away.
All right, so we got the pregame meal, we got the prevent meal, and soccer's known for its short half times, and we don't have a lot of time. We got a lot to talk about. Should or should not be eating something at halftime?
Yeah, I mean, everyone is unique. That's another thing too, right? What they can tolerate, but definitely, hydration. If you can't tolerate something to eat, I mean, a sports drink has the carbohydrates, which supplies the energy, the sugars, to go further for the second half. So hydration, and if you can eat, once again, a great time to just pop something in your mouth. Whatever is really easy to do. You can do, I think a lot of the kids like those applesauce pouches. I don't know if you've ever seen them that squirts easily right in their mouth. And so, that sometimes they use like the gummies, like fruit snacks. Mm-hmm. Fruit snacks are another really popular halftime snack idea.
Yeah. So we got pregame meal, prevent meal, halftime, and then we have post recovery. So we got a lot to focus on, and leaving any of those out, you definitely missed your opportunity to maximize your efforts, your energies, all of the work that you put into. So game day nutrition has a lot of moving parts that it requires a lot of planning. and can be done very efficiently and very well. So let's just change a little bit. You talked a little bit about this, but you mentioned the role of hydration. So that can also either really help you or really hurt you if you don't do that correctly. Is that correct?
Yeah. Hydration, that's one of it seems so natural because to drink, but having a hydration plan is, one of the keys to to success. The hydration helps you move just nutrients through your body. A little bit of dehydration, even a slight dehydration of 2%, has been shown to really impact your performance and focus. So that can slow your game time, your quick decision-making skills when you're, specifically, we're talking about soccer, just your decision-making on the field and your accuracy. So hydration is definitely something that should never be neglected. So, and I talk a lot with these athletes about just having a plan in place, waking up and making sure you get a glass of water in and carrying a water bottle with you all day, and just how much you're going to be drinking before and during, and then also after.
Man, we take it such for granted, but I will say that marketing is incredibly masterful when it comes to trying to convince athletes as to you should drink me in order to become an all-star, so to perform better. And so buyer beware when it comes to hydration and, quote, energy. And so that word energy is used incredibly loose. So energy drinks are good or bad when it comes to fueling soccer athletes and hydration.
Right. I think there's a lot of confusion, like you said, Ronnie, out there with energy drinks, hydration drinks, and they're really different things. So energy drinks, have caffeine in them, and they're not made with athletes in mind. It's like things like Red Bull, Celsius is really popular now. These are not made with athletes in mind. So, and they don't have the right composition in terms of like the carbohydrates, and they don't have they have extra things in there too, like maybe like herbal ingredients or things that are not really necessarily have been proven safe for athletes. Yeah. So the sports drinks are good, right? Because they have the carbohydrates, which is the sugar that they need. But the energy drinks is a separate thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we've touched on a lot of topics, and we can continue on. And Janice, we will probably have you back for another episode where we take a deeper dive in any of those topics. But we've been dancing around since the break about soccer specifically, and we talked the first half about college athletes, but we're still focused in on soccer. And so all these dynamics that we've mentioned so far lead to a struggle of soccer players. And so, Janice, you've been able to be a part of creating the Ignite the Field program with My Sports Dietitian. How did you get involved with that? And tell us a little more about Ignite the Field and what it is and what we're trying to do with it.
Yeah, sure. How I got involved with it, I actually just reached out to you, Ronnie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, we started talking and we said, what can we do to specifically help soccer players have more game time energy? And we developed a program specifically for soccer players with this in mind to help them with fueling and proper fueling and with the result of game time energy. So that's been a really great process in terms of developing this program.
So how can they find out more about it? We could talk about this, me and you, all day long, because we're heavily involved with it and we love it and we get excited about it, and there will be another day and time that we can go deep. But where can they find out more about Ignite the Field?
Yeah, go to mysportsd.com. And all the information will be there on the website. There's lots to go through, and I think it's one of the things that would be so beneficial for, I think really useful, and helpful for soccer athletes. This Ignite the Field, because it is very goal action oriented.
Yeah, Yeah, mysportsd.com, and go under programs. You'll see more about the Ignite the Field and that particular program. You also can download the Eat to Win app, Eat, number 2, and Win. All this will be in your show notes, and you'll be able to, if you want to, do an in-app subscription to the Ignite the Field and work with Janice in particular, and try to improve your game time soccer energy. So there was a plug for that program, which I'm proud to plug and to promote, because it truly is a one-of-a-kind kind of service. So Janice, we're coming to the end of our time together today, and so you get this one last chance to give us your words of wisdom, that one takeaway you'd like for college athletes, and particularly soccer athletes, to remember when it comes to fueling. What would that be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really think that, being able to fuel well is really about being the best version of yourself, right? Whether that's athletically, academically, socially, fueling yourself really does impact all of those areas in your life. And when you invest in yourself and invest in your nutrition, all these aspects, you just help, right? All these aspects will be better. And so you will be the best version of yourself. So really to prioritize your nutrition. And it's really one of the greatest investments that you can make in yourself.
Janice, you've given lots of words of wisdom to our audience today, particularly about college athletes and soccer athletes, and how to put the pieces together to maximize their performance, specifically game time energy, and potentially using the Ignite the Field. And it's been great having you on our show today, and we look forward to having you back in the future. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. It was such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Eat to Win podcast show. A big thanks to Janice for talking to us about sports nutrition. If you found today's insights valuable, please like, subscribe, and share with your community. Until next time, let's keep on winning.
Thanks for joining us on the Eat to Win show. Remember, every meal is a step toward victory. Until next time, stay strong and keep winning.